Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to talk to you about the greatest in-person experience that I had and totally choked on getting an autograph. To be honest, at the time, I didn't collect autographs and it didn't even cross my mind one bit. Not even to take a picture. This was before technology and cell phones, but I still had a camera and I had advance warning of this potential encounter, and I didn't even do that. I totally blew every opportunity I had, and it was literally across the table for me. And I'm going to go back a little ways, back to 1989. I lived in Central California, close to a town called San Luis Obispo. You might have heard of it. It's roughly right in between San Francisco and Los Angeles, more or less. And I'm working at a hospital at the time, Sierra Vista Regional Medical Center. I give you the exact name so this information can be verified if anybody chooses to do so. But I'm working at this hospital, and our management informs the employees that a movie will be shot, their part of a movie will be shot at the hospital, which wasn't totally uncommon. Like I said, we're a couple hundred miles north of Los Angeles, and it was within the realm of possibilities that a movie might be made in the area that I lived and or worked. And sure enough, they chose the hospital I worked at to make a movie. And we didn't get advanced information on who the actors were going to be, or even if we were going to see any actors. We might not see anybody. There was no guarantees whatsoever. So the filming crew started showing up, the trailers started showing up. Guys are masking off windows and things like that, setting up their lighting and things like that. At this point, I still don't know who is going to be in the movie. Once the filming starts, I get information from my bosses that they figured out who's going to be there. And at the time, the movie hadn't been given a name yet. I wasn't even exactly sure what the movie was going to be about. But I got the information that Robert Mitchum and Mark Hamill were in the area filming the movie at the hospital that I worked at. And this is 1989, and I knew who Robert Mitchum and Mark Hamill were. I'm a Star Wars fan, but not the world's biggest Star Wars fan. And I had seen Star Wars. I'm not totally out of the loop like that. And there were some scenes we were told to keep our distance, not to interrupt filming and things like that for the crew and the actors and things like that. So say I worked on a floor in a hospital, they would be filming at the far end of the hall, and I would just keep my distance, work on the other end. And my title was environmental services, basically a janitor. And but they filmed some. I worked in the surgery and the ER at the time, and some of the scenes they filmed in the ER or surgery. My bad. And so they were like I said, they had some of the windows on the doors and things masked off with tape and paper. So they were filming literally right on the other side of the door of where my job location was, my area to clean and things like that. And word got around, like I said, it was Robert Mitchum and Mark Hamill. But I wasn't really able to get access to these guys. Word was that Robert Mitchum usually stayed in his trailer, enjoyed a few drinks throughout the day, and was not the most fan-friendly actor at the time. And this was in '89. He was getting on in years. He must have been at least in his 70s by then. I didn't look it up, but he had to be at least in his 70s. But fast forward a little bit, we had a common area. It was more or less like a smoking area, and this is California, so it was outdoors, and it'd be like into a garden, and there was a place to sit and benches and things like that for patients and or employees. And this is where they chose to set up the I believe most of the time they call it a craft service tray or table, where they had catered food for the cast and crew, and we were allowed to sit there. And I don't think we ate their food or anything, but this is where our break area was, so we kind of shared it with the cast and crew. And sure enough, Mark Hamill sits right across the table from me. He's busy talking to his film people, trying to talk about the next scene, filming this and that, but he's literally sitting across the table from me. And I know who Mark Hamill is, who he was. I wasn't totally clueless, but I acted like it. I didn't say hi, I didn't ask for an autograph, I didn't take a camera to work and get a picture of the actors. I totally blew every opportunity I had right out my backside, and I didn't think about it at the time. And by the way, the movie is called Midnight Ride. They filmed, Mark Hamill was like a mental patient, and Robert Mitchum was his doctor that advised him, I forget how the movie goes, to keep it under control or cut loose, basically. And I think in the movie, Mark Hamill is like, he's a killer, and he takes a couple victims out during the movie. Michael Dudikoff is also in the movie, but I didn't see him. He was not around where I was, and he's better known as American Ninja, and I forget what the main actress's name is. And the movie is out there, it's on VHS, and thankfully, at the time, this was years ago, somebody put it on YouTube. I stole a copy of that movie. I don't think anybody really cares anymore, but I didn't. It was great. I saw the movie, and I saw where I worked, and I can relate to that. And like, hey, I saw Mark Hamill, and I'll never forget. There's a couple interesting things at the time. This was 1989, and there was some fires in Malibu, and one of the cast or crew members asked Mark Hamill if his house was okay, if he was out of the fire zone or the fire danger, if he was going to be all right. And he said, yeah, I'm good, don't worry about me. And so I remember the conversation he had with somebody else, but I was too clueless to say, hey, I'm a fan, I saw Star Wars, I saw Corvette Summer, whatever it was. And at the time, I think that's all I could think of was Corvette Summer. It didn't really click in my head that, hey, this is Luke Skywalker sitting across the table from me. I totally had a brain cramp that entire week, and I regret it to this day. I think I sent Mark Hamill a letter to some website I thought was his at the time. This was years ago, explaining the situation. I'm like, hey, I was there, and there was the guy that asked you about your house, if it was okay from the fires and this and that. And obviously I never got a response. But yeah, that's my my biggest in-person autograph choke, blown opportunity. Mark Hamill literally sat across the table from me, and I didn't take advantage of the opportunity, and I always have regretted it greatly. And it was cool to see him in person, but I wish I would have had the foresight. Like, somebody would have kicked me in the ass and told me, hey, get his autograph, dummy, or get a picture. Nobody. We were all clueless. I was clueless, and it is what it is. I can't go back in time. That's almost 30 years ago, man. But I remember it like it was yesterday. And as a side note, if anybody with that cast or crew happens to see this video, I'll rat on one of my coworkers. There was two of us. They filmed the movie at night when the hospital was more empty, less interruption, and but there was another janitor that worked alongside me, and he was a little out there. He was a little uncontrolled, and the cast and crew were off shooting the scene in that table I told you about, where the catering was and this and that. One of the cast members had left their jacket on a chair, and this was a nice leather bomber jacket. It was top notch. And my coworker, I forget his name, I wouldn't say it if I knew it right now anyway. I remember what he looks like, and but he snatched the jacket and hid it, and everybody on the cast and crew was going ape shit. They were giving us the third degree. I knew that he took it, but I had to play dumb. I didn't want to rat him out, and they searched that hospital up and down for a couple hours looking for that jacket, and I knew who the guy was that stole it, and I've always felt bad about that. And they asked me if I knew anything about it, and I had to say no, and I felt bad about the guy that lost the jacket. I don't know who it belonged to, but if somebody on the cast and crew from Midnight Ride, shot in 1989, San Luis Obispo, California, at Sierra Vista Regional Medical Center, happens to see this video and knows about that jacket, I didn't take it, but I apologize. It was a nice jacket, and it was totally the wrong thing to do. It was a total dick move, and I was a little scared of this guy. He was little nuts, so I didn't want to rat him out. I had to work with the guy, but yeah, we all got the third degree, and our bosses questioned us, things like that. It was an interesting night, and so yeah, that's it. That's my biggest in-person blown opportunity, celebrity encounter, however you want to phrase it. Blew it right out my ass. Mark Hamill sitting across the table from me. No autograph, no hey, how you doing, no picture. Totally screwed it up from beginning to end. And I did see Robert Mitchum once. He had a trailer on property in the parking lot, and I saw him standing outside the front door. They had the portable stairs that took him down to the ground. He was standing outside looking around one time. So I did see him once, nowhere close to in person. It was probably 50 to 75 yards away, but I did see him, and obviously Mark Hamill. So that's it. That's my biggest regret, autograph wise. And I'm sorry this ran for so long, 13 minutes. I apologize, but I wanted to get that story out there. I've had this story in my head for close to 30 years now, and this is the first time I've actually said it out loud to anybody else, really, the full thing. So thanks for watching. Thanks for toughing it out for 13 minutes on my biggest autograph opportunity that I blew. And I'll be back soon with another video. Later.